Mal will be pleased.
Well, that's hardly conclusive, given the number of those things we've come across recently.
The autopsy will confirm it one way or another. Looks like barbiturates. Barbiturates. What else is rattling around in this thing? We should speak to her doctor. Prescribing both drugs would make her life a roller coaster. Quality English smoking jacket. I don't know anyone under 45 who would wear one. This is all top end of town stuff. Gives us somewhere to look. Modeling assignment. It's a place to start. Beautiful girl. Clothes certainly aren't from the Sears catalog.
Phelps?
Mal, we've had a look around. Rusty thinks it's a waste of time. What's your theory?
Come on, Mal. Tell us why we were dragged down here.
If the victim was alive when she entered the tub, water would have entered her lungs. The water is violently churned in the windpipe as she drowns. The result is that a lot of foam is generated. This foam is found at the mouth and nostrils in almost all cases of real drowning. Notice anything about our Vic?
May I took a look?
Be my guest. Take a closer look at her head and neck.
The neck is bruised pretty badly. Bruising on the forearms, and these look like bite marks.
Very good.
Very unusual ring.
I could be wrong, but it looks like a black sapphire. The eyes are a classic sign of morphine, and the bruises tell their own story. I think one man held her down and another held her arm and injected her. They put her in the bath to try to cover it as a drowning.
And spread a trail of barbiturates.
Take a look around outside on your way out and see if you can find the Surretts. It would make my theory.
The morphine would have been very quick, and there wouldn't have been much of a struggle.
Okay, so find two guys who recently bought Surretts and weren't junkies, and you might be onto something.
Miss Julie was...
Pretty girl like that?
I'm Detective Phelps. I'm here to try and help Julia. Do you mind answering some questions?
Virginia Reynoldson. I'm just so shocked. I feel like there's something I should be doing, someone I should call.
We can make those calls, ma'am. Who needs to be notified?
That's just it. I don't know. Miss Julie doesn't have any family in town. Someone has to set her affairs in order. Mr. Henderson, maybe? Who else is there? I don't know.
If you give the details to the other detectives, ma'am, they can try and get in contact. Was Miss Randall depressed about something? Upset?
No more than normal.
What are you hiding here, Mrs. Reynoldson? Julia was obviously disturbed about something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
She was taking barbiturates. She couldn't sleep. You must have seen them in her room.
You've seen the pillbox, the things she hid in there. I don't know how she supported herself. Always new clothes and jewelry. She lived like a movie star. A princess. Does modeling really pay that well?
Did Miss Randall have many friends visit?
I'm not sure. I only come around twice a week.
Why are you lying to me, Mrs. Reynoldson? Julia had men stay here.
I will not speak ill of the dead. You can't prove that.
Who owns the smoking jacket?
I wouldn't like to tell tales, you understand. That's Mr. Henderson's. An older man, very distinguished looking. He seemed very much in love with her.
Where would we find him?
I'm sorry, I don't know. He said he lives in San Francisco.
What was it like working for Miss Randall?
Perfectly fine, officer.
Mrs. Reynoldson, it seems like there's something you want to tell me.
She was very high-strung. Lovely one moment and screaming at you the next. She wanted it all, and she wanted it damn quick. Of course, being so beautiful, it seemed like she was going to get it. Not the way it's turned out, though, is it?
Thanks, Mrs. Reynoldson. You've been very helpful. One of the other detectives will take your statement, and then you can go home.
I think our work is done here.
Stefan, Rusty, we'll take a look around outside and then follow up these leads. Can you get some guys to run down the jacket?
You think Carruthers has called it right?
He rarely gets it wrong.
I don't know. I'm a Galloway. I've met enough girls in my time who can't handle their dope.
You're behind the wheel.
Fine. Where are we headed?
That's that cop. Like a decent guy.
Come on, Roy.
Keep your shirt on. Here I come.
I'm waiting, Roy. Get a move on, Roy. Hoo-ah. Come on, Roy.
I'm waiting, Roy. Careful. Can you drive to this one?
Bukowski, Galloway.
Here, Stoneman, office 505.
I swear, if we locked up every doctor in this town, Vice would be able to work half days.
Yes, sir, your name?
LAPD. We'd like to see Dr. Stoneman.
Dr. Stoneman is with a patient. Would you like to wait?
No, we wouldn't. Tell him we want to see him now.
There's no need to be rude.
Save it, sister.
Dr. Stoneman, I have some gentlemen from the LAPD here to see you.
Send them in, please. I'll see this patient again after they've left.
Dr. Stoneman, we are investigating the death of one of your patients, Julia Randall.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Do you mind if we ask you some questions about Ms. Randall?
Not if it doesn't compromise doctor-patient privilege, Detective.
How well did you know Miss Randall?
Barely at all. She'd only been a patient 6 months or so.
Julia Randall has been your patient for nearly a year. I'm sure you know that.
Do you doubt my veracity, Detective? Do you have access to my patient records? Detective? Tell me, do you often lose focus like this?
Your prescriptions contradict you, Doctor.
Miss Randall was in the fashion business, as you probably know. She was jumped up on Benzedrine by day and knocked down by sleeping pills at night. I told her to slow up, but no. Life was too short for her.
And you supplied the prescription for the Benzedrine.
It's not illegal, Detective. A lot of young women in her line of work use it for weight loss.
You wrote Julia Randall a prescription for Benzedrine. How can you account for that?
Miss Randall was in the fashion business. She wanted to control her weight.
Benzedrine is addictive, as I'm sure you know, doctor.
As I warned her, but she was determined. She said she needed it to control her appetite.
Sounds like you knew her pretty well.
I knew the line of work she was involved in.
That'll be all for now, Dr. Stoneman. We'll be in touch.